All right, well, welcome back to Exhaust Sports Auto. My name is Kevin, and we are here to check out a 2008 BMW 528i. So who do we have to thank for this little opportunity? It is none other than European Performance near Cary, Raleigh, North Carolina. So if you're interested in this vehicle or any other European vehicle, or really Porsches, you're in the right spot because that's kind of what they specialize in, European vehicles, and they even service them. And if you mention my name, you can get a discount on pretty much any vehicle here. But I don't get anything out of it. Don't worry about that. Just a little discount for you for mentioning my name. So talk to Ryan about that, but let's get on with this review, and also all their information is going to be down in the description box below. But this car, 121,000 miles, okay, 528i. This was, well, it really came out around 2004. And this is the turning point for BMW, where they kind of brought their vehicles to the 21st century, and a lot of people didn't really like that. Very awkward looking little car to a lot of people. Me personally, you know me, I kind of like these weird looking cars. Even during the time, I remember, it looked cool, it looked interesting, it looked different. It's almost like the Panamera, like the old Panameras when that first came out, looked a little weird and bulbous. I like that. It's the weird and bulbous looking cars that are kind of baller to me, so there is that. So with that established, let's just get this bad boy on the road, and then you tell me how you like the way that this vehicle looks. Me personally, like I mentioned already, I don't mind it at all, but I want to hear your thoughts. So that, let's just get this out there. Now, it's still a BMW, you know, driving dynamics, all that is still at a high level here. Driving dynamics and comfort, two things that they really worked on. So there is that. Let's bust this little corner real quick. Good thrust, good thrust. Why is that? It's because it's fitted with a velvety 6-cylinder, according to BMW themselves. When this car came out, it said had a choice of velvety engine options, 2 inline 6s and a V8. We have the kind of base trim level vehicle here with the base engine, which is still a 3-liter inline 6, not a V6, inline 6. It's kind of what BMW does. Produces 230 horsepower, 200 pounds-feet of torque. Now there is the twin turbo inline 6, which that's pretty cool. That's a twin turbo. But again, this is kind of the model that probably most normal humans are going to be interested in the used market. You might be asking, why would you buy this? Well, a lot of people, they aspire to own a BMW. This kind of looks new-ish, if you will. It's 2008. It's got some new headlights and all that stuff going on. So a lot of people, they aspire to own something like this. You know, they either grew up loving this type of thing. It's about $7,900 now at this dealership, and you can get this thing with a warranty. So that's what I would suggest you doing. You know, you lust after this thing, you always want a little Beamer, get it with a warranty if that's what you want, because let's be honest, BMWs, despite what you think about them, they are still one of the best driving cars you can possibly get. We're going to test more of that in a bit, but let me tell you something else. Comfort is another thing that they focused in on, and this is an extremely comfortable vehicle. See, look at this here. It's not beating me up one bit. Now, I will say, there's a little bit of creaking and rattling going on, primarily because this interior, it's gotten a little crunchy over the years. I've noticed that with a few BMW products. It hasn't aged quite as, perfectly as like a Lexus product would have, but I'm just saying it's not terrible. Well, it's a little iffy. I'll show you that in the interior segment. So you get in the brakes here, and the brakes, it's great. Obviously, it's been serviced and all that. 6-speed automatic. And it does a great job kicking down when you need it to. It does provide excellent thrust. It's one of those cars where you can whip it around, foot to the floor. It's like pragmatic amount of performance that you can use out on the streets. You can, really enjoy ringing out this motor. It actually sounds a lot better than most V6s would too, so there is that. There's certain character to these BMW inline 6 cylinder engines, and it's also not turbocharged, so there's that. It reduces some complexity a little bit. I'm liking the steering feel of this thing. It's got a good weight to it. I believe it is a hydraulic steering rack, at least it feels like it is, so that's fantastic. And the suspension is actually, it's got a pretty interesting suspension system going on here. It's got like a pivoting front suspension. Actually, the entire pretty much front end is all aluminum, so that's one of the biggest changes that they made when they went to this generation of vehicle. The hood is aluminum, pretty much all the front suspension is aluminum, and I believe the in general architecture of the front suspension is actually a strut-based suspension up front. I did actually review a 6 Series, a 650i with the V8, so definitely do check out that review. Had a nice muscle-like feel to it, so that was pretty cool. It does instantaneously jump off the line, so I do appreciate that. Going over these trash bumps, it is such a comfortable riding car. I think that's one of the biggest highlights with this thing for sure. and it does immediately kick down because it's not some 12-speed transmission. It's actually a 6-speed, so there's not too many gears for it to jump down. I don't believe this is the SMG or anything like that, but regardless, it's great. There's no paddles or anything like that. Chuck this thing in there. Not too much body roll. It's gripping extremely well, actually. Yeah, this is a great handling car. No tires squeal or anything like that. It's 225 wide tires, 17-inch wheels. Obviously, these 17s are definitely helping with the ride quality, but also you just saw there it had great handling. Just a bit of body roll, which is expected for something like this, but it only weighs about 3,500 pounds, which is not a bad weight figure at all for essentially a mid-size sedan. It's about 190 inches long total, and that's definitely smaller than most of the vehicles of today. You know, the new 5 Series is about 196 or 197 inches long. Yeah, no, this is a very satisfactory vehicle to kind of whip around. It's there's something weird about this car. Obviously, you know, they do their best to completely service these vehicles before putting it up for sale, but I'm just saying here, brakes feel great. The steering rack feels sensational. This is 120,000 miles. Actually, a viewer actually brought up a good point. You know, some of the things, you know, I might mention in the reviews, like I just did an LS430 video, I said like the steering was kind of sloppy, and it could have been very well due to the fact that it was 77,000 miles and probably needed like some new bushings or something like that. That's very true. Like, I look at these cars, these older vehicles, with the eyes of like it being a new car, and that's totally not the case. But regardless, there's nothing really crazy going on with this vehicle that I need to fault. It's been well taken care of. It's just a bit of the interior components here, which I'll mention in the interior segment, but it's quiet, it rides great, it handles great, and it goes extremely well. Like 230 horsepower, like that does not seem like a lot, and here's the thing, like it still pulls well with 120,000 miles on it. That's the crazy part. Now, that's some good speeds right there, yet it is extremely quiet. It does not have double pane glass or anything like that, but it's just doing a great job. So, cons to this old driving experience, not really too much to report, really. I mean, just a bit of body roll, which is expected for a mid-sized luxury sedan, you know what I'm saying? But this definitely handles better than anything from Lexus, Mercedes, even Audis. I mean, BMW really is at the pinnacle of handling for, like, luxury cars, if you will. And like I mentioned, motor is still pulling strong even with 120k miles on it. So, fantastic things going on there, but I would still suggest you getting a warranty. But that pretty much sums up the driving segment. Let's go ahead and talk about the interior, because that's kind of where I have more of an issue with this car. I mean, I get it's 120k miles, but obviously a Lexus or something like that, or even an Audi would definitely age a lot better than this. Like, you know, this little wood trim piece here, I mean, it feels like I can probably just rip this off. It's a little bit loose right there. Overall, the plastics are a bit crunchy in here. That's the only thing I've noticed. Obviously, you're not, if you own the thing, you're not going to be, you know, pressing up against the panels like that. I'm just testing it out for the video purpose. But another complaint I have, you know, when BMW brought this thing to the 21st century, you know, this is not as simplistic as it used to be, essentially. I appreciate the climate control. That's pretty easy, and it is totally separated from the screen, so that's fantastic. I will say that this infotainment is a complete joke. I mean, like, I get that BMW iDrives, maybe not the newest one, but like the 18 to 19 cars, they had a pretty good iDrive system, and it's pretty much easy to use. This is a complete enigma. I don't know what's going on here. Yeah, it's interesting. It's best to ignore that. But yeah, for 2008, they did bring some other changes. Like I mentioned, the headlights were different, but also in the interior, there's a lot more optional safety features, but it's kind of non-existent in this particular trim model. Like, I don't see any real blind spot monitoring, anything like that. There's no like safety features on this particular model, but those are kind of options that you can tick off. This thing was about like, what, 50 G's when it was new. A couple of wear here on the window switches are. It is a one-touch up and down window switch for all 4 windows. That's a fantastic thing to see. Like I mentioned, not double pane glass. Doors feel nice and heavy. I appreciate that. It's like that nice German quality sensation to it. So it does feel like a nice, solid, and safe object to pilot around in. So that's great. I love the comfort of these seats. These seats are stupid comfortable. And actually, the seats, I don't believe that this is a real leather seat, but they have aged extremely well. No backup cameras or anything like that with this particular model. And the gear lever knob feels a little, you know, not quite as tight, if that makes sense. But at least it still works. No real issues there. It is pretty easy to see out of. However, these kind of rectangular mirrors, I wish they were a little bit larger. That's the only thing, but otherwise it's not too ridiculous. It's very easy to place this car on the road. It's not intimidating in any way possible. You have a physical handbrake. That's always a great thing to see. Sound system is actually pretty clear, actually. It definitely gets a job done. I don't believe it's like the Pro Logic 13 speaker thing, but it does a pretty good job. It's not a bad sound system. This stop start thing, I mean, that's kind of interesting. You still have to put the key in there, and it's like you press it in and out. That's all you do. You don't twist it or anything like that. And then you have to press the start stop button so to turn it on. So that's kind of interesting, almost unnecessary, but whatever. Automatic headlights, always a great thing to see. You have the telescoping steering wheel that is electronically controlled, actually, and you even have these little controls are kind of cute to look at, very small, but anyway, you do have automatic windshield wiper, so there is that. Gauge cluster, it's like pretty much unchanged, even in the newer BMWs, like the 440i that I used to have, like the 2019, it's pretty much like the same gauge cluster. Very easy to read, legible, simple, and even like the center information, very easy to understand. So there is that. Like it's an interesting interior space because certain parts of it are very solid, like this center console, but like, up here where like some of the plastics are and this wood piece art is kind of loose, so it's very interesting and strange. You have like these I don't know, like these Porsche inspired cup holders. Kind of dumb, I hate seeing that, but anyway, glove box is a decent size, and this center armrest is kind of worthless, but it does have iPod connectivity if that's important to you. I guess BMW is thinking ahead. They even made like a phone storage spot. My Note 10 Plus kind of fits in there, I suppose. Kind of stuck in there now. Jesus. Right. Sorry for that. You do have a sunroof in here, and yeah, like I mentioned, I think the seats and the steering wheel, they have aged extremely well. I love this simplicity of the steering wheel, actually. Rear seats, I can definitely fit back there. I'm 5'11". It's easy to get in and out of. A good amount of headroom in here. That's not an issue. And the seats don't fold down, I don't believe. But the trunk, though, is insanely large. I love how big the trunk is. It's like the size of a full-size sedan. So that is awesome. You even have a spare tire underneath there. And you have like this little Michelin box with like a stuff to like, fix a flat or something like that. So there's that's in the trunk. So a few little quirky things to get used to. Like the ergonomics are a little bit off in here, but for the most part, everything still works in this vehicle. I'm sure you can get used to it if you own the vehicle. So there is that. It's a pleasure to drive this car. It's one of those forgettable, generations of BMW. I think this is an interesting choice. It's when they first brought the cars to the 21st century, and you know what? It's a phenomenal driving car. If you can get over the looks, I personally like it. You can enjoy this with a warranty. You're pulling up. It's a white BMW, you know what I'm saying? You can flex on your friends, if you will. It's a very nice practical machine. I believe it is going to be a pretty safe one as well. So, get it with a warranty if you really like this car. I don't know of too many people who are actually passionate about this generation, but I wanted to check it out because I liked it when I was growing up. I thought it was an interesting, unique little car, so I decided to review it. I wanted to see how it aged with 120k miles. Fortunately, there's no turbos, there's no extra crap on this. It's just a inline six with a 6-speed auto. Perfect. Love it. So love driving it. If there's any owners out there, please do let me know and let us know in the comments how it has aged for you, and anything you have to replace, repair. Let us know if you can work on this vehicle yourself. Please do let me know. A lot of people aspire to own a BMW. This is one of the more affordable ways to get one, but again, with a warranty is what I would caution you to do. And you can obviously talk to European Performance if you're interested in buying this car or anything else on their website. Please do check them out. You can even get a discount on any vehicle here. So with that, thank you again for watching. Take care and goodbye.